Hi, thanks for coming in and joining me on this little talk. I'm Suze. I work in Judy's office, Women's Resource Center at Lake Hart. And today we're talking about effective communication for ministry through technology. This presentation will be quick. I'm not going to be telling you how to do all these things. I'm just touching on various options that you can use to enhance your ministry. My goal is for you to see yourself in these scenarios. Where are you in these different pictures I'm going to paint? And then decide what is the next step I need to do and what is maybe a long-term goal. I'll be focusing on MPD in the way I present these slides, but you can use this kind of setup I'm going to show you with other ministry as well. I want you to take away something practical that you can use in your ministry. If you look on the next slide with the basic building blocks for staff, I can say 98% of you watching this have all four of these building blocks already. You have a database, you have email with Google, you have some kind of social media, and I'll bet 98% of you are on Facebook. And you also have a web presence of some sort. And by the end of my talk, I will want to have you consider having, at minimum, send a supplemental email letter in addition to your paper prayer letter, have a central database, have a social list of your donors on Facebook, and post regularly if you wish to have a blog kind of website. Now, I want you to keep in mind also three different keywords that we're going to come across frequently as I talk. That's social, mobile, and fewer clicks. These will help you make your decisions when you decide on what your first step is going to be. How can you have a more social connection? How does my content look on a mobile device? And does my reader have to do too many clicks to go where I want them to go? Now, on this next slide, you'll notice I filled in all of the blocks or building blocks with a specific name. I recommend that you use TNT MPD or MPDX when you have one database. You already have crew mail, and by the end of this talk, you might decide you want to have MailChimp or some other email service. And I would like you to, as I say, have a list of your donors in Facebook. And I would like you to update your give.crew.org site. And I'll go into all of these in more detail throughout the talk. So the first thing I'd like you to think about is doing a regular email newsletter. This would be in between your paper newsletter, or maybe quarterly if you want to do it that way. It's a supplemental letter. It's nice looking. Maybe it has a little more family information than you have on your regular letter. And another option to just sending a letter through email is to actually use MailChimp, which I recommend. It's free up to 2,000 in a subscriber list, so it won't cost you anything. And one other reason I recommend using MailChimp, MailChimp, is because your donors are more and more using a mobile device to look at your email letter or whatever you're sending. So if you look at the next slide, you can see I've got the back side of a prayer letter that has a lot of photos on it. And as you look at the mobile phone, you'll see they only see that little piece of your letter. So they have to scroll to the right and scroll to the up and down in order to read it. And likely they just are not going to read it. I really just encourage you not to be sending PDF letters anymore. This is one of the problems you'll encounter, plus people will have to click on an attachment to open your letter, and they just might not. They may be looking at it on their phone and think they'll go home and open it up, and then they won't read it at all, most likely. If you're going to use PDF, it is really just a photograph of your letter and is best for somebody who needs to print your letter. It is not really good for using in an email. Now you see a sample of the Give site. And John and Susie's staff have not done anything with their Give site. So if somebody's looking to donate to them and they see this, how do they know it's them really? You need to, if you have not done this, you need to put in a photo and some ministry information and maybe 1 or 2 links. The next one is a picture of what ours looks like. You can put that optional photo across the top, the cover photo, and I have just 2 paragraphs about our ministry. It won't take you very long. If you look on the bottom of the slide, I tell you how you can go to my blog, Equipping for a Ministry, and find out all the steps you need to do to make your site look like this. The next thing I want you to do after you've fixed your website is to start sending your email with a link to that. So put a little giving link on the bottom of your email. And I'd also like you to be making lists of your donors in Facebook. Last month I friended one of our major donors, and right away she wrote back to me and she wrote, "Now I can keep up with all your good news without waiting on your letters. Hope all are doing well." So your donors just love being on Facebook with you and being connected. This next slide shows you my breakdown of our donors. We have 99 donors in a list on Facebook. If you go to their help area in Facebook, they tell you how to set up a list. It's really quite easy. And you can also use that list on your wall to just write directly to your group of donors instead of a public announcement on your wall. I have one good story that I think will convince you need to do this. I was checking my MPD list one day and saw that a $25 a month donor said, please pray for us and our daughter today. And that's it. And I noticed that she had written this like 3 minutes before. So I decided to phone her. And it turns out that her daughter had run away. And they knew where she was. She was coming back the next day. But I had the opportunity to minister to her and pray and be a part of that family's concerns that weekend. So that is just one story of many that I've had in being connected with donors. So another question you may have on the next slide is, which social network should I be in? If you tend to have a business-oriented kind of ministry, you might prefer LinkedIn, for instance. For me personally, my blog is my base camp, and Facebook is my embassy. And then I have outposts. So I recommend picking that one embassy and focus on that. And it's okay to have outposts. You can gather email information. You can get photos of donors by being in these other social networks. And for instance, another story would be from LinkedIn. One of our donors, $60 a month, was not donating for half a year. And I chose to look at LinkedIn and found out in there that he was unemployed. So instead of writing a letter asking where their donation was, I was able to find out he was unemployed and write a more sensitive letter to him. I'm briefly going to mention that you should choose a database. I don't want you to fall into the trap of having names in this spot and addresses over here and emails updated over there, and that's why I do recommend TNT, MPD, or MPDX to keep them all in one place. TNT MPD will sync with MailChimp and with your email information. You can keep all your email history in it. So it's really quite an effective tool that you should be using. Again, keep in mind social, mobile, and less clicks. As much as possible, send your readers straight to the content that they need to be reading. Don't lose them in a trail of clicks as they try to get to where they need to be. On the slide about can you be more social, this is really a slide I've put together for those of you who do have a website instead of just the give.cru.org site. Maybe you have had a website for years. And I'm talking about a website that does not have a blog feature in it. What you are probably doing is you update your website, and then maybe you're sending an email about the update in your website. And if you're really on top of things, you're posting about your update of your website in your social media as well. I put an arrow that's dashed in the slide because this is the old way that the web works. This is not the new way. What we're in now is called Web 2.0. It's more social. And you need to update that website of yours and make sure that it has a feed. And I explain on the slide just very briefly what a feed is. So I would just recommend that you get a website together that has a blog in it that sends out a subscription information to your readers. And there's other reasons that's a good thing to do. But feel free to write me, as I'm being very brief on a lot of different topics. Please write suze.schmidt@ccci.org for any answers to your questions that you're probably having as I talk. The next slide is a blog and MailChimp option. Remember I showed you the 3 different things you did with your old website. Now on this one, you're writing in your blog, and because you've set up these features, as soon as you post that, it appears in Facebook, it appears in Twitter, and it'll send an email through MailChimp. And then you've done one thing instead of 3 things, and yet you've accomplished the same effect. It also creates more interaction with you and your donors. With MailChimp, you will know who is reading your information, who's actually engaged with you. The slide here of my grandson Patrick at the beach, this is our website. When MailChimp sent this post out to our readers, the next day I got an email from a $150 a month donor, and they wrote, "Loved the pic, such a beautiful and happy baby you're, Patrick. Have to tell you, 1 week back from overseas and first time I've really had time to read your blog much in about a month. Such great info and reading as always. Thanks so much for the time and effort you put into it. Such a blessing." So apparently, being gone a month, when she got her opportunity, she read everything she'd missed. She's really engaged with us, keeping up with it, and appreciates the effort I put into it to send her that information. The next one shows how our website looks on a mobile phone. This is something I'm going to do. I need to find a mobile-friendly, what they call theme, for my blog. So if you have some kind of a blog that's not responsive, that's the word you're looking for, a responsive theme will resize your post to fit on a phone, an iPad, or a laptop. So at minimum, I recommend, again, like I said earlier, send a supplemental email, be involved with your donors on social media, have a central place for your database, and if you choose to have a website blog, post regularly. Just start maybe monthly with different content than you send in your paper prayer letter. You can do this. Have faith in God and in yourself. You may need skills, but we're here to help you. Follow my blog or find mentors and other resources. You have a story, and also people who want to help you get your ministry and that story heard above the noise on the internet. They want to help you accomplish your ministry. Care about them, build your partners into a team, and focus on these tools as a ministry to them. Instead of thinking of it as a broadcasting of yourself, think of it as a ministry to them. Start small, at a little at a time, be consistent, keep at it. You can master these tools. I'm learning too, and will be glad to help you in any way I can. Thank you very much.